Alright. Actually, I'm not sure if you caught it, but in that introductory movie for the prelude, there was a woman standing outside, I guess, the Academy steps, who wasn't quite paying attention. I think she was actually facing the camera. She looked a little confused and quite unhappy. I think that was Lilly. It's Lily's big day. Her days in dark, smelly lecture halls with Neverwinter's worst and dumbest are finally over. Her apprenticeship towards becoming a mistress of the Arcane, an instructor here at the Neverwinter Academy, has been only a constant test of her patience, nothing more. She can only assume the Academy wanted her to empathize with the students she'd be teaching. Right. The only thing she learned was how dim-witted and spoiled the cretins really were. Like Zedir. The only thing that pointy-headed little gnome will master is the art of lying to his parents about how well he's doing at the Academy. Like he even knew what that protection from alignment scroll was, anyway. Lilly just hopes that expelling students is a privilege of the faculty. Yeah, and I think one thing I'm going to miss with the Infinity Engine from Baldur's Gate is the ability to cast spells from a list. Here, it's through a radial menu. I guess the problem is, requires you to know what level a particular spell is at, which I'll never remember. So I'm going to have to set them up in the quick bar, which isn't a big deal now, but I think as she gains more spells later, and especially as she gains, well, bonus spell slots at lower levels and things have to be shifted over, setting up this quick bar could be a long and tedious process that I'll probably edit out of the final video. It makes her smile every time just to touch it. Her new spellbook, bound in wolf's hide. She finds that digging her nails into the thick lupine binding gives her an uncommon pleasure. And it didn't come cheap either. Serpent books and folios of Waterdeep charged her no less than 2,237 gold and 5 silver pieces. All thanks to the Emerald Dragon booty. It's the most expensive 19 pages Lilly owns. Well, 21 now, thanks to Zedir. But no thanks to the Academy, who has condemned her to stay here in the senior barracks with her lessers. And to add insult to injury, they leave a ridiculous-looking wizard's robe, presumably some sort of ceremonial garb for her to wear for her appointment. The Lady of Murder vows to return for her simple black robe later, and that if she ever finds herself returned to Duramore and happily designing new priestly vestments for the Church of Lilly, to never, ever consider olive and red.
Finally, you're up. I was afraid you were going to sleep all day. I guess the instructors work you pretty hard here at the Academy.
Of course, this is Pavel, presumably one of the seniors staying here at the senior barracks.
My name's Pavel. I'm one of the new recruits. I just arrived here at the Academy this morning.
Aren't asking if it's Lilly Black. Well, of course she's not going to lie. Is it true what they say about you? That Lady Arabeth herself ordered the Academy to send you an invitation to come here for training. I've never heard of anyone being invited to train at the Academy before. Usually people are begging to get in. Must be a great honor for you. Well, Lily's not surprised she was invited to train to be an instructor, as she presumes. You're pretty full of yourself. Hope you have the skills to back up that confidence, but for some of us, things don't come that easy. Yeah, she's not surprised. My brother, Bim, and I were working on one of the nearby farms outside the city when we heard Lady Arabeth had put out a call for heroes to come to the aid of Neverwinter. We knew the city was suffering, but we didn't realize how bad things were until we got here. We arrived just before they sealed the gates and quarantined the city. Sealed the gates? Quarantine? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Thank the gods I got accepted into the Academy. I wouldn't want to be out there on the streets with the plague. Not with the city guards barely able to keep order anymore. Well, what is he talking about? Plague. The Wailing Death. It's a plague worse than any recorded in the entire history of Neverwinter. The whole city's been quarantined. Nobody's allowed in or out. Well, that's typical. And of course, this is the first that Lily's heard of it. The Neverwinter militia do their best to enforce the quarantine, but people don't like being trapped inside the walls of a plague-infested city. Every day, more bodies pile up in the streets, and the citizens move one step closer to panic and open rebellion. Can't say I blame them. Pavel says the dead number in the thousands. Yeah, to Lily it sounds like the whole city's doomed. Most people have given up any hope of finding a cure for the Wailing Death. Potions and medicinal herbs do nothing, and even the prayers of the city's most powerful clergy have been ineffective. I guess that's why Lady Erebeth ordered the Academy to open its doors. The city needs a hero. Word on the street is that Erebeth is actually working on a cure right here in the Academy, but it's just a rumor. Probably not even true. She's wondering why he's mentioning it that. But yeah, I think Lily needs to get going. I guess you want to get on with your training. Well, good luck, Lily. Who knows? Maybe the next time we meet, those rumors of a cure for the Wailing Death will turn out to be true. Don't forget to say hi to my twin brother Bim over there by the door on your way out. Talk to Bim. Not if she can help it. Talking with one twin was arduous enough. Lily wonders if she was indeed at least given the nicest room in the barracks, and decides to verify for herself. Though she's guessing they're all the same horrible little rooms with damp corners and creaky beds. She hopes that her new office chambers as an instructor will be far better than this. She expects a view, of course, not of the common rabble below, but a pleasant one like the Neverwinter River, perhaps, and a monstrously large, heavy oaken desk of sufficient size to both strike fear into the hearts of visiting students and jealousy into the hearts of her fellow instructors, like Jaroo. Behind it, a couch for herself, in the style of the fainting ladies of Selgaunt, so she could recline and look at caged birds. Silenced, of course. She could never tolerate a bestial racket. But for guests, she'd have to find a most uncomfortable wooden chair, with no back and no arms. A simple stool might do, just so she wouldn't have to suffer the intrusion of visitors any longer than she has to.
Hey there. I want to talk to you.
Oh yes, and of course, a lock for the door. Alright, doesn't look like Lily has much choice but to talk to Bim.
I saw you talking to my brother Pavel. My name is Bim. If you want, I can give you a short tutorial on adventuring.
Tutorial on adventuring? I was not sure what he's talking about. Suit yourself. Should go through this door and speak to Olgerd then. He'll get you set up with all the equipment you need to finish your training here at the Academy. Bim and Pavel, if Neverwinter really is beset by a plague and this is the best the Academy can produce, its doom is most certainly assured. To her surprise, Lily notices a dangerous, fiery look in Olgerd's eyes.
Hello there! Come to get yourself some supplies from old Olgerd, have you? Good idea. Can't have you wandering about the streets naked. Might give the Academy a bad name.
The city guard are already having enough trouble maintaining control as it is. Plague bodies piled a dozen deep in the gutters. The Wailing Death running unchecked through the districts. Horrible, I say. Yeah, I think everybody she talks to, the stories just keep getting worse. But you've heard all this before. Here, I've got some equipment for you. A wizard like you might find it handy in completing your training.
Oh, this might be a good time to teach you how to use the stores in the game. I have some items here you might want to purchase. Since you're part of the Academy, you get a special discount rate.
Yeah, Lily's not sure what game he's talking about, but he certainly caught her ear with special discount rate. Certainly interested to see that. Great. I'm sure you'll find my prices most reasonable. When we're done, you'll find the door leading out of this room is unlocked. I think she's wondering why it was locked to begin with. Lilly assumes that if Olgerd sells it, it must be somehow sanctioned by the Academy, and so suitable for the upcoming ceremony. Unsurprisingly, her favorite color is black, not olive green, as Olgerd is probably imagining it is right now. Though he doesn't have a wizard's robe in that color, he does have a necromancer's, and she decides to take a chance on how it might look and buys it. It's on the proceeds of Pavel's stone anyway. And weapons. She's never fired a crossbow in her life, and hopes she never will. She'll look out for a traditional bow instead of arrows later, courtesy of the Academy, she hopes. As for spells, Lilly has had to start all over again. There's 165 commonly known spells she's interested in acquiring, and this silver-haired dwarf is sitting on at least 7 of them. This is going to call for some persuasive bargaining. She whispers incantations for a charm spell, gesturing with one hand behind her back. Too easy.
Welcome back! So, what can old Olgerd do for you? You want to take a peek inside my shop? Or is there something else?
It almost sounded like that charm spell might have worked too well. Of course, there was nothing else. Too easy indeed. The discount is not quite as good as she would have hoped. Regardless, she trades in scrolls for spells she already knows, and acquires Burning Hands, his last scroll of it, strangely enough, Color Spray, Endure Element, Mage Armor, and Negative Energy Ray. Only 160 more to go. All this, despite the fact that she knows full well she would never cast some of the spells on her list. It's the way it's always been. It's the way of a wizard, really. An academic pursuit, knowledge for its own sake, made even more ridiculous by the motivations behind it. To satisfy her own ego. She couldn't suffer a lesser to know a spell she did not. Unfortunately, she doesn't quite have enough for scare or enfeeblement, even after Pavel makes his meager donation to the undertaking. Lilly wonders if somehow the necromancer's robe might be fitting with this wailing death going around and all. Necromancers. Lilly tries to remember some of the death spells she's known before her exile. She was thrilled with Finger of Death, not only because of its immense power to slay a living creature by simply pointing one's finger at it, but because of the devilish dramatic flair of it, her finger being crooked and all. It was her funky Finger of Death. Now it's just a malformed manipulator for magic missile. In fact, thinking about it, she's surprised she hasn't broken any other precious digits during her journeys. She examines her right hand, imagining what it would be like if that hand too had a crooked finger, and wondering if it would somehow make her spellcasting more terrifying. She quickly forgets the idea as she prepares another charm spell. She's sure that Pavel would want to see what he's bought. It's hardly a robe and certainly not modest. Regardless, when she puts on her new necromancer's robe, she can't resist. She assumes a dramatic and threatening pose and thrusts both her now defunct funky Finger of Death and a second plum pointer into the air. It doesn't look more terrifying, only foolish. The Lady of Murder shall instead have to attend the ceremony as the Lady in Red. A red robe of fire resistance could prove useful should, the Academy suddenly find itself flooded with lava during the ceremonies or her chair catch fire. What was Olgerd thinking? Is he planning to burn down the Academy? Is Olgerd evil?
Welcome back! So, what can old Olgerd do for you? You want to take a peek inside my shop? Or is there something else?
While trading with the silver-haired dwarf, Lilly eyes the blazing brazier next to him and tries to imagine why he would want to burn down the academy in the first place. He doesn't appear to be mad. Maybe he just hates students as much as Lilly does. Well, she could understand that. She wonders who else he might have given fire-resistant clothes to, though. Who else is in on this conspiracy to murder the class of 72? She'll have to keep an eye out for other members of the Red Ring, and hopes they'll recognize her as one of their own.